3 drones, 1 budget. Very different answers. The Neo 2, the Lito 1, and the Lito X1 all live at the entry-level end of DJI's lineup. They're all aimed at beginners. They're all under $400 to $500 depending on the combo you pick. And if you look at them side by side, they look like they're competing for the same buyer. They're not, and comparing them on a spec sheet is actually the wrong way to approach this decision. The right question is, what kind of flying do you actually want to do? Get that answer right, and the choice becomes obvious pretty quickly. Let me walk through everything. Start here, because this framing matters. The Neo 2 is a follow-me drone that can also fly like a traditional camera drone and like an FPV drone. It's the most versatile of the three, by design. Everything about it is built around ease of access. Propeller guards, palm takeoff, gesture control, phone-only flying. You can pull it out, press a button, and it films you. No setup, no controller needed. The Lito 1 and Lito X1 are traditional camera drones. They fold up, fly high, go far, and shoot stabilized cinematic footage the way you picture drone footage looking. They're purpose-built for that specific type of aerial photography, and they're very good at it. There's overlap. The Neo 2 can do altitude shots, the Lito series can do tracking, but the overlap is where each drone is working outside its core purpose. For the thing each drone was designed to do, the difference in quality is clear. Let's get the numbers on the table. The Neo 2 Fly More combo with the RC-N3 controller runs around $349. You get the drone, 3 batteries, and a charging hub, but no bag. The Lito 1 Fly More combo comes in at around $399. Same structure, drone, RC-N3, 3 batteries, charging hub, but this one includes a carry bag. The Lito X1 Fly More combo sits at around $499. That extra cost gets you the RC2 controller with the built-in screen, a better camera, and the LiDAR sensor. One important note on availability. If you're in the US, the Neo 2 has made its way to third-party retailers like B&H, despite DJI's FCC situation, so it's findable. The Lito 1 and X1 are a different story. DJI hasn't pushed them through US retail, and availability is limited to gray market imports for now. If you're outside the US, UK, Europe, Asia, Australia, all 3 are available without restriction. The control options tell you more about which drone belongs in your life than any spec comparison. The Lito series is straightforward. You fly with a controller, either the RC-N3 where you clip your phone to the bottom, or the RC2 with the built-in screen. That's it. No phone-only mode, no gesture control, no flying without a controller. That's not a limitation, it's how traditional camera drones are designed to work, and it's completely fine once you're used to it. The RC2 is the better controller if you can stretch to it. Built-in screen means your phone stays in your pocket. The joystick feel is noticeably better. More customizable buttons. The one honest caveat, the screen can be hard to read in very bright direct sunlight. Standing in shade generally solves it, but it's worth knowing. If you want the RC2 with the Lito series, you need the X1. The Lito 1 only ships with the RC-N3. You can buy the RC2 separately, but there's no combo package that puts them together. The Neo 2 is a completely different situation. You can fly it with no controller at all. Press a button, the drone launches, tracks you, and comes back to your hand. You can add your phone via the DJI Fly app for more control and a live view. You can add an RC-N3 or RC2 for the full camera drone feature set. And you can go the other direction entirely. Add the DJI goggles and FPV Remote Controller 3 and fly it in full manual FPV mode. That range of control options is genuinely unique at this price. But here's the thing worth understanding. Most people buying the Neo 2 use the basic modes most of the time. The FPV capability is there if you want it. Whether you'll actually want it depends on how you fly. Camera is where the real split happens, and one number matters more than all the others. The Neo 2 and the Lito 1 share a 1/2-inch sensor. No D-Log-M, no HDR. Normal color profile only, footage comes out ready to use, with limited room to push it in post. For social content, short clips, learning to fly, completely fine. The image quality out of these two cameras is nearly identical. The Lito X1 steps up to a 1.3-inch sensor at f1.7, the same size and specification as the Mini 4 Pro's camera. That larger sensor means better dynamic range, meaningfully better low-light performance, and access to 10-bit D-Log-M. D-Log-M records a flatter image, less saturated, less contrast, which preserves more highlight and shadow detail and gives you significantly more room to color grade in post. Apply a LUT afterward and footage that looked flat and dull straight off the drone transforms into properly graded cinematic footage. If that workflow matters to you, the X1 is the only drone in this comparison that offers it. The gap between the Lito 1 and X1 is around $80 to $100. For the difference in camera capability, particularly in low light and high contrast situations, that's a small gap to close. All three drones shoot 4K at up to 100 frames per second. All three can shoot 48 megapixel stills on the Lito series, versus 12 megapixels on the Neo 2. For selfie-style aerial shots, 12 megap is more than enough. For broader landscape photography where you want to crop or print, 48 megap matters. Gimbal. The Lito series runs a 3-axis gimbal, roll, pitch, and yaw stabilized. The Neo 2 runs a 2-axis gimbal, covering pitch and roll. The 3-axis advantage shows most in windy conditions and during fast tracking. The Lito footage comes out smoother in those situations because the yaw axis is also being actively stabilized. That said, with electronic image stabilization helping out, the Neo 2's footage is still smooth in most normal flying conditions. Both Lito drones include a vertical crop mode at 2.7K for social content. It's a sensor crop rather than a physical rotation, so technically a lower quality than true vertical shooting. But 2.7K is well above what you need for Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts. This is where the comparison stops being close. 9 minutes. That's it. That's the real-world flight time I consistently get from the Neo 2, 9 to 10 minutes per battery. That's not a criticism of the drone, it's a design reality of a 135-gram aircraft with a small battery. And for what the Neo 2 is designed to do, quick follow shots, short tracking clips, gesture-triggered selfies, 9 minutes is enough. The shots are fast, the turnaround is fast, the whole experience is built for that rhythm. But if you want to do what the Lito series was built for, fly to altitude, frame a landscape, set up a slow orbit, capture a sunset hyperlapse, 9 minutes is not enough. You spend 2 minutes getting to position, you have 4 minutes of actual shooting, you spend 2 minutes returning. You're rushing the whole time. On the Lito 1 and X1 with the standard battery, I'm consistently hitting 27 to 31 minutes of real flight. That's nearly 3 times the Neo 2. DJI's rated maximum is 36 minutes. Real world is shorter, but still a genuinely comfortable amount of time to fly, frame, adjust, and capture without pressure. The extended battery pushes that even further, rated up to 52 minutes. The trade-off, it pushes the drone over the 250-gram threshold, which in some countries brings additional registration or flight restriction requirements. If keeping the drone under 250 grams matters for where you fly, stick to the standard battery. One more point on charging. The Neo 2 charges through the drone itself at 15 watts, slow. With the Fly More charging hub, it jumps to 65 watts and all 3 batteries charge simultaneously. That's the difference between waiting most of a day and being ready to fly again in about an hour. On both the Neo 2 and the Lito series, the Fly More combo and its charging hub change the practical rhythm of a full day of flying significantly. All 3 drones have omnidirectional obstacle avoidance. That's worth saying clearly because it wasn't always the case at this price point. It's a meaningful baseline for beginners across the whole comparison. Both the Neo 2 and the Lito X1 add LiDAR on top of that. The Lito 1 does not have LiDAR. LiDAR uses light pulses to detect obstacles in low light, conditions where standard vision-based avoidance cameras struggle. So if you fly at dusk, at night, or in dimly lit environments, the Neo 2 and Lito X1 maintain meaningful obstacle detection, while the Lito 1 is running on vision only. LiDAR on the Lito series is front-facing only, and only triggers a stop response. It won't navigate around an obstacle, just brake before hitting it. But it being active in low light is a real safety advantage when you're doing that kind of flying. Standard caveat across all 3. Obstacle avoidance cannot reliably detect thin wires or bare branches, and it deactivates completely in sport mode. Both things catch beginners off guard more than almost anything else. Keep them in mind. DJI Care Refresh is worth getting on any of these, but especially on the Lito series where the open propellers and traditional airframe design mean a crash has more consequences than the Neo 2's rugged prop-guarded body. All 3 drones are rated to level 5 wind resistance, comfortable up to around 37 to 38 kilometers per hour of wind. In practice, the Neo 2 gets knocked around noticeably more than either Lito drone in real wind conditions. There are a few reasons. The propeller guards create significantly more surface area relative to the Neo 2's overall size, which means more drag when the wind pushes against it. The motors are also less powerful than the Lito series. In gusty or consistent crosswind conditions, you can see the Neo 2 fighting, tilting hard, burning battery faster, and producing footage that has more micro-jitter than you'd get in calm conditions. The Lito drones have a much better power-to-surface area ratio, less drag, more thrust to counter it, combined with the 3-axis gimbal-absorbing movement that the Neo 2's 2-axis system can't compensate for. Windy day footage from the Lito series is simply steadier and more reliable. If you're flying somewhere that's consistently windy, coastal areas, hilltops, anywhere exposed, the Lito series is the more sensible choice, and the Neo 2 is going to test your patience more than you'd expect. Both the Neo 2 and the Lito series support full active track, spotlight, point of interest, the 360-degree follow wheel. All three max out at around 12 meters per second tracking speed, which is approximately 43 kilometers per hour. At those higher speeds, the Lito drones track more comfortably. The shots come out smoother. Part of that is the more powerful motors, giving them more authority to keep pace cleanly. Part of it is the 3-axis gimbal. The Neo 2 is where close proximity tracking shines, and specifically because of the propeller guards. If you want to track yourself indoors, in crowds, near other people, or at very low altitude, the Neo 2's enclosed propellers make it safe to do things the Lito series can't. Flying a Lito drone a meter from someone's head is a very different risk calculation to flying a Neo 2 in the same position. For outdoor tracking at distance, the Lito series is smoother and more stable. For close-in selfie tracking near people, the Neo 2 is purpose-built for exactly that. The Neo 2 at 135 to 160 grams, depending on whether you have the RC transceiver attached, is the smallest option. Fold nothing, pack it in your jacket pocket. Get it out on a motorbike trip in 30 seconds. It's genuinely the most likely of these three to come with you everywhere, which means it's the most likely to actually get used. The Lito series is small for a traditional camera drone, but it's a traditional camera drone. Folded arms, controller, batteries, still easily fits in a small bag. If you've ever traveled with a mini series or Air series drone, this is the same energy. Very packable, just more to think about than putting a Neo 2 in your pocket. Both Lito drones come with a carry bag in the Fly More combo. The Neo 2 combo doesn't. On noise, the Neo 2 is the loudest of the three. Higher pitch, more noticeable. Still not a loud drone by most standards. Once it's 20 to 30 meters away, you can barely hear it. But compared to the Lito series, which produces a lower, quieter hum and essentially disappears acoustically once it's at altitude, the difference is noticeable when the drone is nearby. For wildlife photography, shooting near people trying to have quiet conversations, or any situation where sound intrusion matters, the Lito series is the better choice. One capability the Neo 2 has that neither Lito drone offers: FPV. Connect the DJI Goggles 3 and the FPV Remote Controller 3, and you're flying in full manual mode. Immersive first-person view, faster and more dynamic footage than anything either Lito drone can produce. The Neo 2 is not a Nevada 2. It's not optimized for racing or cinematic FPV, but it can give you a genuine taste of what FPV flying feels like without buying a separate drone. If you already know you want FPV, and the Neo 2's FPV performance sounds like enough for you to explore it, that's a real advantage unique to this drone. If FPV means nothing to you, it doesn't change the decision at all. Here's how to actually choose. Get the Neo 2 if you want to film yourself, tracking shots close to your body, selfie footage, palm takeoff and return. The propeller guards make it safe near people. You want flexibility of control, phone only all the way up to FPV goggles. You travel light and the drone needs to fit in your pocket. 9 minutes of battery is enough because your shots are quick. Get the Lito 1 if you want traditional cinematic drone footage, altitude, wide shots, landscapes. You want nearly 3 times the battery life of the Neo 2. Budget is genuinely the deciding factor, and you can live without D-Log-M and LiDAR. Get the Lito X1 if everything above. Plus, you want D-Log-M and real color grading flexibility. You want low-light obstacle avoidance with LiDAR. You want the RC2 controller in the combo without buying it separately. The $80 to $100 price gap between the Lito 1 and X1 is one of the better value jumps in DJI's current lineup. Neither the Lito 1 nor the Lito X1 is a better version of the Neo 2. The Neo 2 is not a budget Lito. They are different drones for different styles of flying, and the right answer depends entirely on what you're actually going to do with it. Figure that out first. The rest of the decision makes itself. See you in the next one.